Hello everybody, welcome to LAB this week, and we're talking about my favourite thing, which is technology. Any excuse, right? So this week I'm talking about it particularly in the context of answering questions on training contract application forms about technology, or talking about technology in the context of your answers, because I've seen a few application forms recently and I've noticed that on the whole the issue of technology is not tackled all that well, so hopefully that's going to change after today. First of all, I want you to perform a little exercise which involves clearing your mind of everything that you think you know about the training contracts application process. So forget about academics, forget about competencies, forget standing out from the crowd, work experience, all of that. And I want you to focus on the fundamental reason why you are being hired for this job, and that is to make money for this business. This is the reason that any business does anything, not just law firms, whether it be hiring somebody, breaking into a new market, getting a social media platform, new ad campaign, buying a new printer, whatever. The sole purpose of these things is to generate more revenue and more profit for this business. Okay, lesson 1 complete. Lesson 2, how do law firms make money? Basically, law firms make money, first of all, from attracting and retaining clients. Don't forget, that's the fundamental basis for why lawyers and law firms exist. It is to service and assist clients who require legal advice with any particular matter. Second of all, it's by pricing and processing the work generated by those clients in such a way that the firm generates a profit after tax and overheads. Lesson 2 complete. How does technology fit in with this? I've already talked a little bit about this in my videos, Tales of the Tech Revolution Part 1 and 2, which you must watch in conjunction with this video before you start talking about technology. I will link them in the description below. In the context of attracting and retaining clients, the marketplace has opened up massively, and as a result of that, consumers now have much more choice as to who provides them with legal services, which means there is much more competition for us. And that means if you are a firm who can use technology to offer your services in a particularly unique, innovative, efficient way which is tailored to your client, then you may well have the edge over your competitor which is not using technology in such an innovative way. Second of all, in the context of pricing and processing. Pricing we're pretty much stuck with at the moment because that is also dictated by the market, and there is so much competition that consumers consistently want more for less, which is a hypothesis I've also talked about in Tech Revolution Part 1 and 2, which basically means consumers essentially want the moon on a stick for the price of a lollipop these days, and we are forced to keep our prices the same or lower than our competitors. So if we can't increase our prices, how can we increase profits? By better processing. Time is money, so if we process the work quicker, we can produce more profit. You've probably seen in the news talk about artificial intelligence being used for massive document reviews, and that is essentially a way of saving time. So if technology can help review a set of documents in 1 hour instead of 5 hours, you've then got another 4 hours to go and do something else, thus generating more profit. So those are the ways in which technology can help us. Next lesson. Whether and which type of technology to implement is an entirely firm-specific decision. You would have seen lots of hype in the media about the need for firms to embrace artificial intelligence, and they must implement this and move forward with the times, which is slightly misleading in some ways. I believe that firms must at least consider the possibility of artificial intelligence as a tool for increasing profitability. However, whether they actually implement it or not is entirely dependent on the firm's individual needs. The way tech should be considered by each firm is by looking at the firm's data and the firm's analytics, and technology should only be used to solve a particular problem that has presented itself. So if there are obvious gaps in profitability or places where systems could be improved or more profit should be generated, it should then be looked at by the partners in the firm, usually in conjunction with their CTO, the Chief Tech Officer, or an independent specialist in technology, to see whether there is some type of technology that potentially improve that situation. It is not a case that technology should be blanketly implemented regardless of the situation. There's a tendency to think that firms need to innovate just for the sake of innovation or because everybody else is, but that's not the reason behind it. The reason should only be if there is a specific problem which needs addressing and that technology is the way to fix it. So what I'm essentially trying to say here is that technology is just a tool for facilitating an increase in profit or ensuring that profits don't drop because you're losing clients to a competitor who's more innovative than you. In the same way that 5 years ago, all firms were getting on a social media platform, and 20 years ago, all firms were engaging in TV advertising. And in 5 years' time, it will be something else. Over and above technology, what is fundamentally important is that you understand how business works and how law firms make money. That is going to score you the most points on an application form, because if you can do that, then you're more likely to spot the next trend, which increases profitability once technology is old news. That's not to say that you should close your internet browser and stop learning and stop researching technology, but you should think of it as a bit like a video game. There are base levels that you have to hit in order for bonus points to become available, and understanding how business works is one of those base points. Once you've demonstrated in your application form that you understand that, there are then bonus points available for talking about technology. However, if you start talking about technology before you've explained that you fundamentally understand the reason behind it, then you're not going to get those bonus points. And in fact, you might actually lose points if you're talking about it in such a way that highlights that you don't fundamentally understand why it's being implemented. A couple of examples of answers that I've seen on application forms include saying things like, I understand the firm's need to embrace technology as the biggest driver of the legal profession in the current market. Or, I'm really interested in technology because I understand this is going to be a key part of day-to-day life as a lawyer in the future. Or, I appreciate the firm's need to implement artificial intelligence in order to keep up with current trends. Hopefully, now that you've listened to this video, you can understand why 1 and 2 aren't enough, because they haven't demonstrated why that's the case. And number 3 might actually be fundamentally wrong, because it's not the case that every single firm needs to implement artificial intelligence. A couple of you have also asked me how to spot technology questions, or how to pick out where there's an opportunity to talk about that in the context of your answer, because often the questions don't say, tell me about your technology knowledge. So I think examples of questions where there is scope to talk about technology include questions like where you're asked to talk about changes or challenges, either for that specific firm or in the marketplace generally, how the firm might get ahead of its competitors, or what you would do differently if you were employed to work in the firm. Those are just an examples, completely non-exhaustive list, but those are questions that I commonly see come up on application forms, and it's a good opportunity to talk about technology or your understanding of how business works. I also want to say, don't panic if you've written some of these things in your answers already and you've submitted your application forms. This is just some guidance going forward so that you are more prepared to talk about it in the context of an interview. And it's unlikely to cost you your training contract if you haven't fully understood the concept of technology. I'm hoping this video will just help you understand it a bit more going forward. As always, I welcome your feedback, so please let me know what you think and give me some ideas on what you would like to see future videos on, and I will catch up with you next week. Bye guys!